now you're heading over to part 2 of that episode right over there. All right, everyone, we are back with Dr. Michael Biamonte. And yes, hopefully you went through that first section on Candida. There's a lot to digest there, and make sure you, if you haven't yet already got on to his website, please do get there and connect with him. So, Michael, tell me, what do you do? Like, there's got to be, you have to have some health protocols yourself, being that you're in this field for, 3+ decades. You're not just going by the wayside and doing what you think is good. You actually have some scientific background to know what is good to do. So what do you do?
I test myself.
Okay.
And I find out using hair analysis, blood work. I find out what nutrients I need. That's the first thing, because one of the most dangerous things that somebody could do and this is not well known, because vitamin companies would put a hit out on me if I continue to talk about this and make it very well known. If you take vitamins that you don't need, you create imbalances in your body.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
If you start taking large amounts of zinc and your zinc isn't low, you cause a copper deficiency. If you take high amounts of vitamin C without knowing your level of copper, the vitamin C could lower your copper. And then you develop a copper deficiency. And copper deficiency and vitamin C deficiency have the identical symptoms. And I can go on and on and on and on and on. For every nutrient that exists, there is a group of nutrients that nutrient is either synergistic with or it antagonizes. Magnesium, for instance, is necessary for you to absorb calcium through your intestinal membrane. But at a cellular level, magnesium and calcium are antagonists. So if you take too much of one, you imbalance the other. And this is the thing that I find with a lot of people who come to me who are health enthusiasts who've been taking all these vitamins for years, is they've created imbalances in their body. Story I always like to tell is when I first started a practice, I had a medical doctor who was referred to me. And the medical doctor tells me his story had a prostate issue. And he read in the literature that zinc was essential for prostate, and a lot of people had taken zinc and their prostate problems were relieved. So he started taking zinc about a year ago, was taking 50 milligrams a day, and in the standard medical doctor fashion, he took nothing but the zinc, because that's what the reference was on. It was on zinc. Well, after a few weeks, his prostate problem got much better. And then after a few months, he forgot about the prostate problem. He continued to take the zinc every day. Then all of a sudden, the prostate problem came back. And he said, well, I've been taking the zinc. I'll take more. So he doubled the zinc, and the prostate problem got worse. And that's when his friend referred him to me. He came to me, and the first thing I said was, stop the zinc and start taking copper. And then I had him do a hair mineral analysis. He starts taking the copper. In about 3 or 4 days, the prostate infection was gone. He calls me up and tells me this, and when we got his hair test in, his zinc was sky high and his copper was very grossly low. So what did he do? By taking the zinc by itself, he caused a copper deficiency. And copper is your body's natural antibiotic. Copper as an element is the mineral that your body mobilizes to kill bacterial infections. So the moral of the story is you test yourself to find out what it is you need to take.
Yeah.
Next thing is you need to be careful with antibiotics. So when someone needs to take antibiotics, the thing they have to do is not take probiotics, because the probiotic will kill the antibiotic. I'm sorry, the antibiotic will kill the probiotic. What you want to do is take some kind of over-the-counter antifungal, whether it's Powdarco or caprylic acid or oregano oil, something with that antibiotic. That natural substance you're taking will not only broaden the effect of the antibiotic, but it will stop the growth of yeast and candida if you do that. Then after you're finished with the antibiotic, then you can take the probiotics. But if you're taking the probiotic at the time you're taking the antibiotic, it's just going to kill it. So that's not going to work. Next thing is I pay attention to my blood type. I'm a blood type O. So if anyone's read Dr. D'Adamo's book, I happen to have studied with Dr. D'Adamo Sr. when I was in nutrition school. So I got all the data directly from him. Peter D'Adamo, who's written all the popular books, is his son. He's not really the one who did all the research. His father did all the research. So when I was in medical school, I'll give you a funny story. I'd been a vegan on and off for 5 years, and I'd been a vegetarian probably for 8 or 9. And I started to get funny muscle twitches, tremors. And I had a lot of friends who were chiropractors. They kept adjusting me. They couldn't figure out why it was. So one day I asked Dr. Diadamo, I said, I'm getting these twicks and these tremors. And he goes, well, what kind of diet do you follow? I said, well, I've been a vegetarian mostly for 7 years. And he says, what's your blood type? And I said, oh. And he shook his head. He says, I want you to go home. For the next 3 days, I want you to eat liver. And then come back next week in the class and you tell me how, well, I ate this liver. When this liver hit my mouth, it was like I was a vacuum cleaner. I ate liver for 4 days, and the twicks, the tremors were gone after about 4 days of eating liver. And I was dealing with them for months.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing, I was taking magnesium, I was taking calcium, I was saying nothing would work. And finally eating liver, and I never would have believed this. If someone would have told me this story, I would have thought they were crazy. But I understood. He explained to me that I was a blood type O. As a type O, you need certain proteins that you're not going to get from a vegetarian diet, and that's why your muscles were firing out of sequence like that. That's why the liver. I kept wanting to argue with him, but I couldn't because it worked.
Yeah.
So I pay attention to my blood type as far as the diet. I eat more of a paleo diet because that's more of a type O. A type O diet is more paleo. If I was a type A, I'd be eating more vegetarian, which I tried, didn't work for me. If I was a type B, I'd be eating more of a Mediterranean diet. So
That's interesting. I don't even know what blood type I am. Is that weird or is that
a
weird?
lot. Most people don't. Most patients I ask, they don't know.
I think I'm a B. I think I don't I have to find this out. No, and we didn't talk about this earlier, but just I'll give you an idea. Like I'm a self tester with food, not necessarily just random supplements, but with food. And I'm an ultra marathoner,
Well,
which I started running in 2017. So, I've read all these books. I read all of these elite athletes, learning what they're eating. And, I started to study the best of the best. Okay. Like there's got to be something to this since it's not, like a textbook 5K or a marathon runner or
right.
something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of these guys are vegans. So I'm like, I can't be a vegan, but I'll train as a vegetarian. I lost a boatload of weight, which I didn't like the way I looked. I felt good. My recovery was really well.
Yeah.
But then I've also I haven't, carnivore was not for me. I did carnivore as well.
Stu
And then
Middleman.
yeah, so
Have
I
you
did.
have you read Stu Middleman's book, Slow
I have
Burn?
not. I have not.
Stu Middleman is an advocate of somewhat more of a low carb diet because
Uh-huh.
he points out that when you're running an ultra, especially, your body's burning fat. We all know, when I'm a
Yeah.
former marathoner myself, we all know, like, you hit the wall at 18 to 20 miles because you ran out of glycogen. So the idea is get your body more as quick as you can into
Fat
burning
adapted.
fat, and you
Yeah.
don't hit the wall. And
Mm-hmm.
that's Stu Middleman's success as an ultra runner. And I
Yeah.
think he was the record holder of the 100 mile, the 150 mile, the 24 hour, et
Yeah.
cetera, et cetera. So
Yeah.
that really worked for him. Now, he probably was a type O.
Yeah. So and then I've interviewed guys like one of the fastest 50-mile runners in the world, or at least North America. I shouldn't say world, but North America. And he has a ribeye steak every single night.
Yeah.
So
I,
I
I,
and I work well blended, like with blended food. I for recovery, I definitely have a lot of veggies because I like to be able to walk the next day is always the goal and function, like normal human beings show up and practice that day after. And patients like, you just ran 100 miles. How's that even possible? Because
I think
practice my food.
a lot of the guys experiment and find what works for them.
Yeah.
And probably in most cases, if I had the data, I'd be able to explain why that worked for them.
Yeah.
Probably just by their blood type alone.
Yeah, I guess it potentially could be.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna figure that out. I'm gonna actually, you're the second or third person that had mentioned the blood type diet, if you will, or whatever the book is called.
It's called
So
Eat Right for Your Blood Type.
eat right for your blood type. That's
And
right.
and well, that's the main book. There's lots of variations on that he wrote, but the whole basis of the book is very simple. The blood types originated in different areas of the world. It's no mystery. Like, your blood type is part of your genetics. It's not just
Uh,
it's not just what it is because for whatever haphazard reason. Your blood type is your genetic lineage,
hmm.
and that blood type comes from certain areas and locations of the world where people lived a certain way because that's what was correct for that area.
Hmm.
It's like another thing that's in the same venue that gets misunderstood is macrobiotics. When you talk about macrobiotics, all these people think you have to go out and eat noodles and seaweed and, like, all of this Japanese. That's not what macrobiotics really is. The first law in macrobiotics is that you eat locally grown organic food,
Hmm.
not that you're eating seaweed that you're reconstituting
Yeah.
And tempeh and tofu, that's not what macrobiotics is. It happens to be what it is for the people in Japan, but those are things that are native to them there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting you say that. I had a professor in school that taught nutrition, and he told a story. You made me think of it, that he tried becoming a vegetarian or vegan while he was in school. And he ended up going to his professor, but he was exhausted. He was like studying, doing research and all. And he's like, I'm just fatigued all the time. I'm eating all these vegetables and I should be healthy. I feel be good. And the professor asked him, or the mentor asked him, where are you from? Like, where's your family lineage? He goes, oh,
Right.
Eastern European. He goes, do me a favor tonight, go get a steak, buy some potatoes, no vegetables.
Right.
Came back the next day. He goes, holy cow, I feel like Superman.
Yeah.
You
There you
know, so
go.
like,
There you go.
yeah. So it's interesting. I mean, I don't think he didn't ask blood type, but he asked, his
That's
lineage, and
that's
that's
along the
similar
same
type of
line.
thing.
Yeah, it's the same. It's along the same line. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you'll find in different countries that certain blood types prevail. Like in United Kingdom and Germany, there's a lot of type O's.
Hmm.
You'll find around the Mediterranean is more type B's. So there is in Africa, there's a lot of type O's,
Hmm.
but also a lot of type A's.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of the Africans are either they're vegetarians or they're hunters. Like it's paleo or they're vegetarians there.
Yeah.
So if you trace it back,
Interesting.
and he explains this all in the book, you just trace it back and you find it all. It makes a lot of sense. But
Yeah.
it's
No.
also how you feel, like the example of your friend,
Yeah.
how he felt. That's really the bottom line is when you do it and it proves to be correct.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's totally true. It's interesting. And I guess I have one last question. So I know you've got obviously got the nutrition. You test it so you don't guess it, which I
Right.
love. Do you have any kind of activities that you enjoy doing? I know we mentioned you're in a nice sunny climate down in Florida. So
Yeah, scuba and snorkel is down
yeah,
here. That's the big thing down here.
yeah,
And it's so plentiful. Um, down around Key West, we have some beautiful reefs down there.
yeah,
That's the place to go.
yeah. Well, what do you enjoy doing? Are you a scuba or
Yeah, oh, yeah,
those things you do? Okay,
that's what I love. Been doing it
great.
since I was 16.
Okay, very
Yeah,
cool, very cool. Yeah, my wife and I, we snorkeled in was it John Penny Camp down
wow,
there.
yeah.
I've been diving many places, but oh, it's beautiful down there. So everybody, I just want to we're going to send a group thanks to you, Dr. Michael Biamonte. What a wealth of knowledge, and I appreciate you taking the time, the energy, the effort, and sharing some of your brain cells with us, because I know everybody's going to leave this show knowing something new and being able to be proactive. All right, so
Which is a good thing.
yeah, so thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
So you're still here. Awesome. I want to thank you so much for watching part 2 of this episode. Make sure you scroll down on the page you're on right now and join our tribe of human-powered life heroes. You definitely want to be the first to get information on new episodes, new videos, product launches, live events, affiliate discounts, and so much more. So have a great day, evening, or night, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.